a dozen Filipino passport holders were obviously not Filipino. So hindi sila Filipino and yet they carry Filipino passports. He raised the alarm as it involves national security. It does involve national security because that means foreigners can come in and out of our country as if they were Filipinos. They could be a threat to our safety. This Vietnamese national was recently deported by the Bureau of Immigration after being discovered in possession of a fraudulently obtained Philippine passport. Nabebenta na ba ang Philippine citizenship? At magkano para maging Filipino citizen?
How come these individuals managed to get legitimate IDs from various government agencies? So
there have been quite a few reports on unscrupulous foreign nationals posing as Filipinos by using supposedly legitimate government-issued documents. I say legitimate because in previous hearings, they have been confirmed by various officials that they are legitimate, no? So that is why I use the term legitimate. But we will establish that again today. Posing as Filipinos using these said government-issued documents, such as Philippine passports, which they fraudulently obtained using spurious documents and through other illegal means. So during the plenary budget deliberations on November 9, 2023, just a few months ago, Senator De La Rosa made an interpellation raising the interception by the Bureau of Immigration and NBI of foreign nationals with Philippine passports. He stated that more than a dozen Filipino passport holders were obviously not Filipino. So hindi sila Filipino and yet they carry Filipino passports. He raised the alarm as it involves national security. It does involve national security because that means foreigners can come in and out of our country as if they were Filipinos. They could be a threat to our safety. They could be citizens of countries that in one way or another are not friendly to us. So it is definitely a national security issue. Our Senate President, Miguel Zubiri, also manifested in the deliberation that he received reports that the NBI had an ongoing investigation on the activities of a local civil registrar in a town in Caraga, Mindanao. The LCR, the local civil register, was allegedly giving out birth certificates, and the NBI caught several Chinese nationals who do not even speak English, Tagalog, or Bisaya. So the Senate President referred the matter to the Blue Ribbon Committee. I'd like to give an example of a foreigner using a duly issued public passport. I take time to give, I rarely give a long opening statement, but I need to set the tone of this hearing so that the public can also understand, because we have millions of Filipinos who are OFWs, and as I will present, even their own safety in their own homes, their ability to be secure in their person, na hindi sila kapkapan, na hindi sila ma-detain in our own country and worse in other countries, is jeopardized by these cases. So let me give you now the example. This is a foreigner using a duly issued Philippine passport. Vietnamese national who, for the purposes of this hearing and pursuant to the Data Privacy Act, the photo has been somewhat blurred. Blurred na ba yan? Sa lagay na yan? Okay. And will also be called by the name of Nguyen. So this Vietnamese national was recently deported by the Bureau of Immigration after being discovered in possession of a fraudulently obtained Philippine passport. The Philippine passport bore a name alongside her photo, which was different when compared to her Vietnamese passport. The questioned document, however, was found to be genuine and duly issued by the DFA. May I just know quickly from both the Bureau of Immigration representative and DFA if you're both familiar with this case? Yes. So, well, it's the Philippine Statistic Authority representative who nodded. DFA and Immigration, are you familiar with this case? Yes? Yes, okay. I'll call on you later. So, DFA said yes. How about Immigration? Excuse me, who's here? Kayo po. Mr. Supan, you're the one here from, are you familiar? Sorry, can you turn on your mic?
With the particular case, Madam
Not
Chair.
ba? Eh, kasi kayo humuli. So I'll just ask my staff to approach you. No? Baka naman familiar kayo, kaya lang nga tinago nga sa ibang pangalan. So I'll ask our secretary to approach you. Okay? Just pull him aside so that we can discuss this. And reminder lang that we're not using the person's real name. So this example is just the tip of the iceberg. The Blue Ribbon Committee conducted its own investigation, the Secretariat, and came across the case of an OFW. This is another case, no? For purposes of this hearing, and again, pursuant to the Data Privacy Act, will be referred to as Jane. This is a case naman of identity theft. So in this case, si Jane, again, the Bureau of Immigration intercepted Miss Jane, as said person was a passenger departing at Naiya bound for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia via PAL due to inconsistent statements. This person, si Jane, sabi niya she is traveling for the first time, but the records of our Bureau of Immigration revealed that she had already had previous travel. So may inconsistency kaagad na nakita. In fact, lumabas that that person had already departed twice as a land-based OFW in 2015 and 2019 and had not returned to the Philippines since then. But here was this person in front of the officer, and yet twice na siya daw nakaalis at hindi pa nakabalik. So tatlo na yung identity niya. According to Miss Jane, yun nga, it was her first time to depart the country as an OFW. She was not aware at all that there's another person allegedly using her identity at all. And based on her birth certificate, she has a particular birth date. I just won't reveal it na lang for her identity. Born in 1993. But she alleged that it was changed to 1990 by her recruiter in Maguindanao. So dun pa lang, kahit yung totoo niya na siya na yung totoong tao, na-change pa. To make it appear daw that she was compliant with employment age requirements. So pinatanda siya. And then she claims to have paid 1,500 for a new birth certificate. The recruiter was said to have taken possession of her passport and other documents and blocked her off since then, the 2014 recruiter. So anyway, can I now ask, BI, are you familiar with this case?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'm the one who interviewed the passenger.
Okay. So this one you have personal knowledge
Yes.
of talaga. Okay.
The previous is
All right. Okay. And is the DFA familiar with this case?
Yes, Madam.
Okay. So sinabi ko na, pangalanan siya na Jane.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, what happened here was, so it's you, what do you have a title to your immigration officer?
Immigration Officer Supan.
Okay. So Immigration Officer Supan was the one who interviewed her, and the outcome was her departure was deferred and endorsed. The person was endorsed to BI, Border Control and Intelligence Unit. So you turned over this person. But yeah, so basically, hindi na siya nakaalis.
Yes, Madam Chair.
When was this again? When did this happen?
January 25, 2024.
2000?
Just this year to 2024.
Just this year. Okay. All right. So anyway, I'm establishing that as examples of the issues that we are going to tackle. So yung isa is Filipino naman talaga, pero may gumamit ng identity niya, so it's identity theft. And then in the first case that I mentioned, appears to be a foreigner who now has found a way to obtain a Filipino passport. So those are two separate cases, but clearly involving these people having documents that are these people, or in the case of the second person, somebody else obtaining documents that are supposed to be genuine and reflective of one person only. And it's now already in the hands of two other people. And in the other case, hindi nga Filipino. So those are very troublesome issues. And later on, the questions we will ask is from the officers here from the Provincial Statistical Office, no, pare-pareho kayo, and yeah, from the Provincial Statistical Offices, paano nangyari to, and we also have reports na binebenta yon. So, ang napakasakit is the question I'm about to raise, nabebenta na ba ang Philippine citizenship? At magkano para maging Filipino citizen? It's sad that I have to ask that question, but that is the effect of what we're seeing. Nabebenta ang Philippine citizenship. So, just to state for the record, it is the state's duty to protect and maintain the integrity and credibility of passports and travel documents. Grabe yung effect nito sa kahit sinong ordinary Philippine citizen, pero medyo mabigat ang loob ko, especially for our OFWs. Kahit sino naman na maharang, ma-delay sa atin pa lang sa immigration, syempre, hassle yon, hassle. Pero for an OFW who has spent all their savings, umutang na sa lahat ng kapitbahay, nagbayad sa recruiter para malaman na, number one, hindi siya makaalis. Number two, may iba na palang inako yung pagkatao niya. And then yung buong future niya is at jeopardy. Kaya tinanong ko nga ano na nangyari dun sa taong yun. So sa ngayon, di pa siya nakaalis. So that's one of our major concerns because these Filipinos, our OFWs, are really relying on the sanctity and the integrity of our public documents. So I hope we can shed light on this and find solutions. Yeah, I'm ready to start asking questions, as I said, but I'd like to ask Senator Gatchalian if you'd like to make a few statements, and then I'll proceed with the questions. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman, my interest in this hearing is related to the raids that were conducted on Pogos. And I remember in one of the, I just pull out my notes, one of the raids that was conducted by the Presidential Anti-Crime Commission on Smart Web Technology Corporation in Pasay City that took place in October 27, 2023. The Committee on Women, chaired by Senator Risa Ontiveros, went there to personally inspect. I went with her. We personally inspected the vicinity. And in that inspection, we were surprised to see legitimate, valid government IDs being held by POGO workers, particularly Chinese POGO workers in that facility. And let me just flash on the screen, Madam Chairperson, some of the IDs that were confiscated during that time. And these are valid, current government IDs. And I am made to aware that some of these government IDs require personal appearance in order for the different government agencies to issue the cards. But apparently, these cards were not issued to the person who applied for it, nor personal appearance were made to, nor personal appearance were required in the issuance of these IDs. So just to show on the screen some of the IDs, valid BIR tin cards that were issued. Wala silang pictures. Valid DOLE IDs and alien employment permit that were issued also to these POGO workers. And again, during the hearing, I was made aware that DOLE only issues these IDs to applicants who personally go to DOLE. But apparently, these applicants never went there personally. Apparently, they contracted a third-party company to apply in their behalf. We also saw valid Bureau of Immigration IDs. We also saw samples of ACR-1 cards. We also saw PNP IDs issued by Pasay in particular. So all of these IDs, especially PNP, this is a very common ID that most people use in order to acquire legitimacy when they go around town, when they eat in restaurants, or when they transact with barangay. These IDs are most popularly shown to different people to gain legitimacy. And lastly, we also saw bundles of PhilHealth IDs issued also to the same POGO workers. Sorry, the first, let us go back to the PNP. This is PNP Police Clearance ID, issued by the PNP. And we all know when you go around and apply for different applications, you show your PNP police clearance, especially for employment. I think this is one of the requirements to gain employment. So, Madam Chairperson, these are the IDs that legitimate government IDs that were issued to this POGO facility that was raided. And just to remind everyone, SmartWed was embroiled in prostitution. In fact, it's an illegal POGO that housed prostitution. Meron silang sariling KTV. Meron silang sariling massage parlor. They even have their own torture and sex den in that area. All of those people operating that facility held legitimate government IDs, making them legitimate people operating legitimate activities in Pasay City. So I would like to also, through this committee, I would like to also be enlightened on how these criminals managed to get legitimate IDs of government. If it was disclosed to us that personal appearance is a very strict requirement, how come these individuals managed to get legitimate IDs from various government agencies? So thank you, Madam Chair, for this hearing. And throughout this hearing, I will just propound my questions to the different government agencies. Maraming salamat po.